Next up's the Indianapolis Colts. Where are they? I got to scroll down. The rest of the South is projected a lot lower. 7.5 here for the Colts. Cynthia has them just at 7.6. They're a tough one to peg because it starts at the quarterback position, right? I mean, I could easily see Daniel Jones having his best statistical season in this environment in the Dome. Let's not forget the Dome versus outdoors against in New York or in New Jersey. Dome, probably his best offensive line, best group of pass catchers. So if Daniel Jones plays, I mean, I could see them being pretty competitive. Plus, they've got some talent on the defensive side of the ball, as we've said a lot with Chris Ballard. Solid roster top to bottom. It's just a matter of what kind of quarterback play they get.
Yeah, I mean, this shows how powerful the quarterback is in terms of moving the needle on wins, losses, projections, the line in any given week. This is a really good roster. Both sides of the ball, top to bottom, positions 2 through 52, I guess, because there's the extra quarterback. But the quarterback is a battle between Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones. And that terrifies everybody because both those guys may end up being below average starting quarterbacks. Look, I think if Richardson wins the job, the thing about Richardson is he's been wildly inconsistent, wildly inaccurate, wildly inefficient as a passing quarterback. He brings some of that running ability to the table to prop up the offense, a little bit like Justin Fields, different runners, but same idea. His really biggest issue, though, is he's been injury prone. Like, he hasn't shown he can stay healthy for a full season, let alone play well while being healthy. But all that has meant that his career is less than a season old in terms of like games started. And this was one of the least experienced quarterbacks coming to the league ever anyway. So he has barely played football. And I think we need to be aware of that when we're talking about like, where is he? What is he? How is he just a bad quarterback? Whatever he is right now is probably not what he can be based off how inexperienced he is. So that's relevant when we're talking about his, the battle to win this job. And then the Daniel Jones side of it, I think you're right. This would be the best situation that Daniel Jones has been in the NFL. And okay, it didn't last long. And maybe it was a more reflection of the front office getting greedy with contracts than it was actually a reflection of his play. But Jones has already played well enough to get himself like a $40 million a year contract. So if this is better than the situation he was in then, Jones is capable of taking this team on a run. I think that's definitely true.
Yeah, so the 7.5, this is a tough one for the Colts because again, I don't know that if I was ranking the job that Chris Ballard has done as far as adding talent, I don't know if I don't think I'd put him in the top 10. I don't think I'd put him in the bottom 10, right? They're just back in this solid bucket here. But I think there's a world where Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson and his development, I don't know how much patience you have with Richardson because of all the inexperience. And it's like when Zach Wilson played, Zach Wilson was pretty much awful from start to finish. And he would sprinkle in one good game, right? One game where you're like, all right, there's something there. But most of it was bad, and you saw it and you felt it. And when other guys came in, it looked much better. That's not really the case with Richardson, right? There's enough positives in there. I'm talking full games that are positives. I'm talking about the run game. It's just he keeps getting hurt, or he takes himself out of the game, or he has a really bad game, right? I mean, I'm just saying, like, all of the stuff that's gone wrong for Anthony Richardson over the last 2 years has been every time he turns a corner, seemingly there's a setback for whatever the reason is, multiple reasons. So that's what makes him like still in the mix here and intriguing. It's not like, hey, the Jets are going to give up on Zach Wilson because there's nothing redeemable right now for him. Richardson has redeemable, but it's just a matter of like, can you put 3 games in a row together of consistent play and health and just show some development over a period of time?
All right, that's enough of that, Steve. Over 50% of the people listening to this are not subscribed right now. So click that button and then we can get back to whatever it is Steve's telling you about. And, the efficiency, accuracy baseline is not high enough. Like there's not necessarily a line that you need to be like, we don't need you to be a 65% passer, a 70% passer. Like, you do special things. That means we can like that can be a fuzzy line, right? We can deal with a lot that's different to some of these other quarterbacks. You don't need to be a pinpoint accurate pocket passer the way some of these other guys do. You can, like, Anthony Richardson owns the best pass of last season, right? That falling away 65-yard bomb into the bucket thing, that was the best pass anybody threw last year. So you have that in your bag. You have the ability to run and make something crazy happen. That'll offset, percentage points of accuracy, but you can't be where you have been. Like, I don't know where the line is for you. Like, I don't know if I need you to be at 60, 65, 70, whatever it is. I'm not sure where that is, but it isn't where you've been. That's the one thing I think we can all agree on.
Part of the reason why when we analyzed Richardson coming out and we said, yeah, he has below average accuracy, there's two things to look at here. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, both guys got better at the NFL level, not just in completion percentage, but in actual ball location. So that's an outcome. And then the other outcome I always recite is when you're a run threat, that changes the math and you have more open throws, theoretically. So you don't have to be precise. You just need to not miss the throw. I mean, that's why there's still, I'm not using the word potential lightly here. I'm saying, like, there's a world where he becomes a little bit more efficient because he has enough tools in the bag to put defenses in a bind, right? That's what keeps Richardson intriguing. And I don't think the Colts want to give up on him too quickly unless Ballard is worried about job security or Shane Steichen's worried about job security. Because Daniel Jones right now, like, he could win 9 or 10 games for you in this environment. Yeah. I don't think that's wild. And I don't think Jones is great. I just think that's an outcome. He could win 5 too, but I'm just saying that's a safer play. I would still want to see what happens with Richardson.
Yeah,
I want to go over on the 7.5. I think here.
Yes, I would be over on 7.5 as well. It's more I don't think it's necessarily it's like Daniel Jones, even if he wins the job and he could win that number of games, but does he actually have a long-term future with the team? Probably not. Like, the problem with dumping Richardson at this point and sort of admitting he's not the guy we're going with Jones because we think he gives us the better chance of winning games now, it means you're junking the top 5, special prospect that you thought you had, and you got to go in a completely different direction. Just to put some numbers, like PFF's throw quarterback charting, throw ball location data, Richardson is basically 10 percentage points worse than any other quarterback at throwing uncatchable passes. The thing you're talking about, like, the windows are going to be bigger because you have this rushing threat. You just need to give the guy a chance. Let him be somewhere where the receiver can catch the ball. Even if you're stopping him and you're killing yak or whatever, just give him a chance to actually bring in the pass. He is 10 percentage points worse than any other quarterback in the game at throwing those uncatchable passes. Like, that's the thing that needs to change.
That needs to get better. Absolutely. I'll take the over for the Colts. I might be going over too much again.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.